One day we find a girl named Romeo on her way to school, and she sees a man who cut his finger by mistake while working, so she goes near him to check on him, and heals him with her healing magic. So he thanks her and tells her, you are surely one of the students of the Magic Academy. So she replies yes, and using magic outside the academy is forbidden, so keep this a secret between us. And then Sis 10, her friend, arrives who was searching for her, and they walk together, and on their way they talk about their teacher named Hugh, and they wonder why he resigned from the school suddenly, and they talk about that there is a substitute teacher who will enter them today in class. And suddenly they hear the screaming of people because of someone running fast in their direction. And he is about to hit Romeo and Sis 10. So Sis 10 uses wind magic to blow him away, and he falls into the fountain, so he gets out of the water quickly, and asks them, are you okay? So Sis 10 replies yes and apologizes to him for what they did to him, so his behavior changes strangely, and he starts talking arrogantly because they are the ones at fault. And suddenly he comes near Romeo and looks at her with surprise as if she resembles someone. So Sis 10 blows him away again with wind magic because he came near her friend suddenly, and she takes her and leaves. And on the other side in the school, teacher Hari is yelling at Principal Rick because the substitute teacher is very careless and was late on his first day, and tells him, I cannot believe that we let an unknown person that we do not know his origin like this be a teacher. So the principal replies, but he came with a recommendation from teacher Silica. So Hari is shocked, and holds the resume of the substitute teacher, and asks the principal, are you sure you have no objection just because he came with a recommendation? So the principal replies, his magic ability is average and classified as 3rd grade, so I think he is good. So Hari is surprised that just a 3rd grade magician will be a teacher here, and tells him the least teacher here is 4th grade, and asks him, is this one going to teach the talented students we have? So the principal tells him, you are right, he also does not have a teaching license at all. But still teacher Silica recommended him, so I will give him a chance. Not to mention that this boy is talented and entered our academy when he was 11 years old and graduated when he was 15. So Hari asks him, and where did he go after that? So the principal replies, in 4 years we do not know where he spent them. So Hari tells him angrily, does not this mean he wasted too much time? He is surely a reckless magician and we cannot trust him. And then, Mr. Principal, are you going to trust the sorceress named Silica? And suddenly Silica enters and asks him, sorceress? So he trembles from her, and she warns him not to speak like this again about her student, so he gets scared and runs away from the room. And then Silica apologizes to the principal for the delay that happened from her student, so he replies, be careful, we gave a big position to a person without any achievements. And the reaction of Hari is very natural. So she tells him, do not worry, I will take responsibility for anything that happens. So he asks her with surprise, who is this person to you for you to do all this for him? So she laughs and tells him, all the matter is that I want him to live a good life. And at the same time we find Romeo and Sis 10 in their class waiting for the teacher, who is very late to the time of the lesson, and the rest of the students are very upset about the matter because no teacher was ever late to his class in this academy, and unexpectedly the person whom Sis 10 blew away twice enters, so they are shocked, both of them, that he is the substitute teacher for them. And he enters to introduce himself and tells them, my name is Glenn and I will be the substitute teacher for this class. So Sis 10 is very annoyed and tells him angrily, enough introductions, start the explanation at once. So he holds the chalk and writes for them on the board, self-learning, and leaves them and sleeps. So Sis 10 gets angry and throws the book at him. So he holds the chalk and the book and starts to explain against his will. So the students get more upset that he is not explaining with care, and also his handwriting is very bad. And one of the students asks him a question in the explanation that he wrote on the board. So he looks in the book and tells her, I also do not know. Search it by yourself. So the girl is shocked, and Sis 10 stands up yelling at him, and tells him, do you think this reply suits a teacher? So he replies with indifference, I really do not know. So she tells him, if you cannot answer a student, at least tell her next lecture I will answer you. So he replies with surprise, would not it be faster that she searches the subject by herself? So Sis 10 gets angrier and tells him, the point is that you show care, and Romeo tries to calm Sis 10, but Glenn provokes her and tells them, you do not know how to search in the dictionary or what? And the bell of the end of the lecture rings, so Glenn is happy and runs fast as if he is still a student. And at lunchtime Sis 10 is sitting upset that she did not benefit from lectures today, and Romeo enters to her and tries to ease her because she knows that she loves studying, and suddenly Glenn sits with them on the same table. So Sis 10 is very annoyed but stays silent. But on the contrary, Romeo talks with him about food and they joke together. And Glenn asks Sis 10, is the food you have enough or you want more? So she replies with arrogance, I do not eat a lot before lectures so I can focus. But since the next class you will explain, there is no problem if I eat more. So he understands that she is mocking him and tells her this is an indirect way. If you have something to say, say it. So she stands up, and before she speaks he puts the spoon in her mouth to silence her. So she is very embarrassed in front of her classmates and yells at him. And on the other side Silica is sitting on the roof of the school and remembers when she told Glenn, I want you to be a substitute teacher temporarily. So he replied, impossible. You know that I am not the person who teaches anyone. So she told him, if you refuse I will burn you with fire or strike you with lightning. So he fell on the ground begging her to leave him alone. So she shot a huge ball of fire beside him and he was forced to agree out of fear. And at noon Glenn enters the lecture that is next, and as usual he is very lazy and does not explain anything. So Sis 10 is very angry and stands up telling him I am from a noble family named Feeble, and it has a very big influence on the academy, and I can talk to them to expel you if you do not fix yourself. And against her expectations she is surprised that he begs her to do that because he is forced to be a teacher here in the first place, so she cannot control her nerves anymore and throws her glove at him. And this is a sign in the Magic Academy meaning that she is challenging him in a fight. And she tells him if I win you will behave with more responsibility, so he tells her and if I win you will talk to your father to expel me from this academy, so she agrees and all the students are excited for the duel. And they go out after that to the fighting yard, and Glenn talks with full confidence and tells her I will not use all my power against you, so the rest of the students expect that he will win easily, and Glenn challenges her in a spell named Shock Thunder, and this is a lightning spell that is said in 3 lines. And the best one is who shortens the 3 lines and releases the lightning faster. So Sis 10 is nervous from his exaggerated confidence, and as soon as the fight starts she releases the lightning faster than him, and they notice that he smiles so they think that he will block it, but the surprise is that the lightning hits him and he suffers strongly, so they wonder where his confidence went. And Sis 10 herself cannot believe that she did that, and Glenn stands up again and tells her I let you win the first round and there are still 2. So she is surprised because they did not agree on that, but she goes along with him, and he starts to say the spell but she beats him and shocks him again. So he tells her I did not expect you to be this strong, but I was joking since it is a duel of 5 rounds, so she is surprised because he said 3 rounds a while ago, and he distracts her to look away and he says the spell, but she still beats him and shocks him before he says the spell, so they ask him you do not know how to shorten the spell in 1 line, so he tells them there is nothing like that, so they are all shocked and Sis 10 tells him anyway I won the duel and you must fulfill your promise. So Glenn gets confused and asks her did I promise you with something, and runs away from them. And on the next day Glenn enters the class and still does not explain anything, and Sis 10 is upset that he did not care about the agreement of the magicians they made yesterday, and a student named Lynn comes near him and asks him about something she cannot translate in the book. So Sis 10 tells her do not waste your time, he does not know anything about the greatness and value of magic at all. Come I will teach you. So he replies with a question, is magic really with the greatness that you are talking about? So she replies I expected you would say that. Magic is the study of the principles of the world, like what it is made from and the laws in it, and it tells us why we exist. So he asks her and what is the use of this? So she tells him surely this will help us be better and our level goes higher. So he replies and after our level goes higher what will we be? And then magic benefits humans in what at all? And he tells her you have medicine for example saves people and treats them from diseases. And you have the farmer gives us food. And the engineer builds the buildings we live in. But magic does not give anything to humanity. So she replies with sadness but magic is not that useless. It helps us find the truth behind the world and humanity. So he interrupts her and tells her sorry I lied. Magic is very useful indeed, but in killing people. So they are all shocked and yet Glenn continues, if the sword can kill 1 person then the magician can kill 10. Meaning in short magic is a useless field that developed with killing people. And suddenly Sis 10 slaps him on the face to silence him, and before he gets angry at her he looks at her and finds her crying, and she leaves him and runs. And at sunset Glenn is standing alone, and reviews himself and finds that he acted like children, and suddenly he sees from above the roof Romia in a room alone and in front of her a magic circle, so he enters to her quickly, and tells her using this laboratory for personal things is forbidden. So she apologizes to him and tells him I was reviewing how to make a magic circle and I will clean the place and leave quickly. But he tells her no there is no problem complete what you were doing, so he finds that she does not even know how to complete the circle. So he brings some mercury and completes the drawing, and tells her perform the spell as it is written in the book and do not try to shorten it. So she tries and it works and she is very impressed, and Glenn looks at her and sees himself in her when he was young and did the same thing she just did. And when they leave the laboratory Romia asks him you love magic right? So he is surprised by the question and tells her why. So she replies because I noticed that you were enjoying a while ago. So he is confused and tells her impossible I hate magic. So she asks him what were you doing at all before you came to the academy? So he replies I was isolated from the world and living with a strange woman named Silica. And I was depending on her last year. So she asks him and what were you doing before that? But he escapes from the question and tells her now it is my turn to ask. And he asks her why do you love magic this much? So she replies I want to make magic something useful for humanity. And to do that surely I must understand it well. And there is another reason which is that I must repay a debt to someone who 3 years ago saved me when I was kidnapped from my home. And some evil magicians attacked me and were going to kill me. And at that time appeared the magician of justice who defeated the evils. And from then I wanted to be a magician so I can meet him and thank him one day. And from Glenn's facial expressions it is clear that he is the magician of justice she is talking about, and he remembers when he saved her, and yet he does not accept to tell her and they continue their way. And at night Romia asks him to apologize to Sis 10 because she has a vow with her grandfather who died that she will be a strong magician, and that she will be able to go to the castle of Melgalius and discover it instead of him. And on the other side Sis 10 is at home, and remembers when her grandfather was on his deathbed and tells her I wished I could take even one step towards the castle of Melgalius, and at that time Sis 10 promised him that she will do that. And on the next day all the students are surprised when they see Glenn apologizing to Sis 10. and tells her I may hate magic but I exaggerated a lot, and this time he starts the explanation with a sentence that shocks them all, which is you are all idiots, and he continues I realized something while I was watching you which is that you do not understand anything in magic. So they all mock him because he is just a magician of the 3rd grade who cannot even shorten a spell. So he tells them, honestly I have no experience in manipulating nature or shortening spells, but I will show you now. And he says the thunder spell in 3 lines and releases it normally, and asks them what will happen if I say it in 4 lines, so they reply surely it will not work or fail. So Glenn replies I know that you idiots. But the question here is what shape of failure will happen, and he tries it in front of them and the thunder bends right, so they are all impressed, and he teaches them more loopholes in the same spell. And then he tells them maybe you all say that magic is the study of laws and principles of this world but you are wrong. Magic simply is just self-persuasion, meaning embodiment of what you think about, and the strange language we use when we say the spells we use it to trick the mind of people and we can interfere in the laws of this world and change them, and it is clear that you are all not believing that just these words can have power. And to prove my point, and suddenly he comes near Sis 10 and tells her I fell in love with you from the first sight. So Sis 10 is nervous and he tells them did you see? Her face is red meaning my words affected her mind. So she throws the book at his head because of what he did, and yet he continues and tells them you can also control and modify the spells as you want, and he makes in front of them a spell from 1 word, so they are all impressed that he can shorten spells also, and he continues his words and tells them spells are just words that activate the power inside your mind, and once you know something like this you will be able to modify them. And the idea now is that the school leaves all these principles and gives you a book with ready spells and makes you memorize it, and that is all that you have been doing in the past period, and he throws in front of them the school book on the ground, and tells them currently all of you are magic users who can make spells. So the most important thing for you is to think about what you are missing, and for that I will teach you the base of the base. And on the other side Silica is very happy that she chose right, and the principal tells her his class became very famous in the academy to the point that the rest of the students stand outside his class watching him while he explains, and Hari is standing listening and very annoyed with Glenn. And at sunset Glenn is standing alone, and Silica enters to him and tells him you look better than what you were a month ago, so he apologizes to her that he worried her about him, and then Romeo and Sis 10 enter to them and they want to ask Glenn about something in the curriculum, so Glenn acts arrogant with them but helps them. And on the next day Glenn is running as usual because he is late to the class, and suddenly he finds the city empty in a strange way, and feels the presence of someone, so he tells him come out from your place, so a person appears and tells him this was a magic barrier so people do not see me but you discovered it, and Glenn asks him and who are you, so he replies tells him not important because you are going to die now, and he launches magic at him. And at the same time in the class the students are waiting for him, and suddenly strange people enter to them, so Sis 10 asks them who are you, and they reply your teacher is busy so we will be in his place, so she tells him enough nonsense. No stranger is allowed to enter here, so he launches a lightning shot beside her head to silence her, and tells her if you speak again I will kill you. And then they tell the whole class we are searching for a girl named Romeo. Can she raise her hand? But Romeo is scared and does not agree to raise her hand. So the enemy comes near Lynn and asks her are you Romeo? So she tells him no and I do not know anyone with that name. So Sis 10 interferes and asks him what do you want from her? So he puts his finger on her head and before he launches the magic Romeo speaks quickly. So he comes near her and tells her I knew it was you but I wanted to play a game kill random people until you reveal yourself. So his partner tells him enough. And before they take Romeo she tells Sis 10 do not worry teacher Glenn will come to save me surely. So the enemy replies to her that teacher we killed him. So she is very upset and they take her away. So Romeo asks them what do you want from me? So he replies to her you should know Romeo. Or shall I call you Princess Arminana? You should be dead now actually. And this is something we can use. And at the same time one of the enemies took Sis 10 to another room to torture her. And suddenly Glenn enters to them and Sis 10 tells him run quickly you will not be able to face him. And at that moment the enemy launches magic at Glenn. But the strange thing is that his magic does not work. So he tries again and also does not work. So Glenn takes out a card and tells him this is the swindler spell that makes me able to cancel any magic. But the surprise is that it also makes me unable to use magic. So the enemy laughs at his stupidity and asks him then how will you fight? And suddenly Glenn jumps on him with his fist, and trips him and holds him and throws him on the wall. So the enemy cannot believe that he is this strong without magic. So Glenn jumps on him and finishes him with a final kick. And after Glenn ties him he finds on his shoulder the mark of a dangerous gang, and Silica calls him from the bracelet. So he asks her angrily what are you doing I called you many times. So she replies to him I was in an important meeting what happened. So he tells her that intruders are in the academy and taking all the students as hostages. So she asks him and did you know who they are? So he replies yes. The researchers group. So she is shocked and tells him those are the group of evil magicians. Strange that those terrorists reveal themselves in a place like the academy. So he replies to her but they were not supposed to break through the barrier around it that easily. Surely someone from inside helped them. And you must start investigating the teachers and ask support from the Court Magicians Association. So she tells him that will be difficult. So he yells at her and tells her do not be stupid the lives of the students are at stake. So she replies to him, unfortunately I am just a guide now and I do not have the authority to do that. So he tells her angrily, then come back here quickly because there is a teleportation circle in the academy. So she replies to him, calm down, as long as they occupied our academy then surely they destroyed the teleportation circle first. So he calms down and tells her, you are right, how did I not notice something like this? And she replies to him, do not worry, I will try to come quickly. And the most important, do not die. And suddenly Sis 10 runs in front of him and he holds her. So she tells him, I will go save Romeo, and he replies, impossible for you to do that alone. So she cries and tells him, I am very frustrated. And you are right, magic really is not useful in anything. And because of it Romeo was kidnapped. So he calms her and tells her Romeo said that she wants to understand magic more to make it useful and I will never let her die. So the enemy who is tied laughs, and suddenly a gate opens from which many skeletons come out, and he tells them this is the summoning magic of our leader. But the strange thing is that the skeletons attack him first and kill him, and then they attack Sis 10, so Glenn pushes her away, and he hits one of the skeletons but it is very solid. So Sis 10 uses enhancement magic on Glenn's hand and he can break one of the skeletons. And he takes Sis 10 and they run quickly, and the skeletons chase them. And Glenn stops, and tells her, I will stall them. You use your wind magic but in a wide way and keep it longer. And he starts breaking the skeletons while she finishes, and indeed she can activate the magic as he asked, but she notices that it is not useful. So he tells her no, this is very good, and he takes a crystal from his pocket and suddenly he uses modified black magic that destroys them all and destroys the wall. And he falls afterwards on the ground and bleeds from his mouth. And Sis 10 notices that his body is very cold because of mana drain. So he tells her this is the price of using forbidden magic. And suddenly another one from the researchers group enters to them, and around him are shining magic swords. So Glenn asks Sis 10, do you still have enough power to disable these swords? So she whispers to him that her power is almost finished and the enemy is not giving a chance at all for her to do that. So he throws her from the hole he made in the wall and decides to fight alone. So the enemy launches the swords at him and injures Glenn in his back, and Glenn tries to find a loophole in his technique to use his card that cancels magic. So the enemy tells him you will not be able to use your card because it does not work on magic activated before the battle. So Glenn dodges the swords quickly and tries to make a spell but he is very slow and the enemy precedes him and cancels it. So Glenn thinks and says another spell, and at the same time pulls his card from his pocket. So the enemy is distracted and blocks the spell with the sword, and tells Glenn, very nice trick that you made me choose between 2 hits in a short time. If I blocked your spell with my magic you would cancel it and use physical combat. And if I chose to attack with my sword you would pierce my body with lightning. And he asks him, who are you exactly? So Glenn replies, I am just a temporary magic teacher. So the enemy launches the swords at him quickly, and they hit Glenn, and he starts to say the spell of canceling the swords while they are in his body. So the enemy tells him you no longer have power to perform this spell, and suddenly Sis 10 appears again and completes it. So the swords stop and Glenn holds one of them and runs to the enemy quickly and pierces his body. And then he tells Sis 10, I am impressed that you understood my intention and came to cancel the spell. So she replies to him, you would not have asked me that question if you were only going to make me run. So he tells her, honestly I thought there was 70% chance you would not understand and I would die. And he moves to finish the last enemy left, but he cannot and falls on the ground. So Sis 10 uses healing magic on him. And suddenly he says, I wanted to be the magician of justice but I think this is never possible. And after a while he wakes up and is surprised that he lost consciousness at all, and looks beside him and finds Sis 10 asleep after she drained all her energy to heal him, and Silica calls and tells him, indeed as you said all teleportation circles are closed. So he asks her with surprise, then how are they planning to escape? And suddenly he realizes what they will do and asks Silica where is the teleportation circle that was closed. She tells him it is in the tall tower in the academy, and asks him why. So he tells her they did not close the teleportation circle, they are rewriting it again. So she is surprised because something like this would take half a day to be done. So he tells her already half a day passed, and he goes there quickly. And he finds their teacher Hugh who is taking his place, and he is surprised that he is responsible for all this. So Glenn takes out his card and activates it. So Hugh tells him no use. 10 seconds left and the circle will activate and Romeo will be transferred to our organization. And at the same time I finish the magic that will eat my soul and turn it to mana and will explode the academy completely. And this is a bomb planted here for years for this moment. So Glenn replies to him, you researchers are very stupid. So Hugh tells him this is a game. If you could cancel the teleportation circle that is imprisoning Romeo, you will cancel also the bomb circle. And if you waited for your card to activate you will not catch it. And also if you tried to kill me everything will activate at once. So Romeo tells him run please, there is no time. So Glenn throws the card and bites his hand to bleed, and draws with the blood a spell on Romeo's magic circle, and he can cancel the first layer of 5. So Romeo tries to stop him because if he continues he will die, and yet he ignores her and continues. So she asks him, why are you doing this for me? So he replies to her, I wanted to be the magician of justice. But the magic world was a very dirty world and I wasted all my life on it, and yet I cannot give up. If I run I will waste everything I did. And he reaches the last layer but he loses consciousness from the amount of blood he bled. And luckily Romeo can take out her hand from the barrier because it became weak, and she touches Glenn and transfers her mana to him so all his wounds heal, and Glenn wakes up again and realizes that Romia is one of the enhancers, and those are the people who can give their mana to another person, and he stands quickly and writes on the last layer of the magic circle and breaks it. So Hugh tells him I lost. Should I have died while following the orders of the organization, or die while disobeying their orders? I really do not know. So Glenn replies to him I sympathize with you but this is your fault because you did not choose your path from the start. But that does not mean you will not pay the price of everything you did. And he punches him a strong punch that makes him lose consciousness, and Sis-10 enters running to them and reassures them. And on the next day we find Glenn standing with Silica, and he tells her I did not expect Romia to be the princess who was said to have died 3 years ago. So she replies to him keep the matter secret. No one but me and the principal know this, so he tells her I am not interested at all, but I decided to watch the things they will achieve. And at the same time in Queen Alicia's palace mother of Arminana, the supreme commander of the guards named Xylos enters, and tells her we are ready to take you to the academy and we will protect you with all our strength. So the queen thanks him and he continues his words if you allow me to talk but there is something I want to say. So she tells him I know that the girl we said died 3 years ago is in this academy. So he tells her yes and a small number of people know this matter. But if all the people knew it will be a problem for us. So she replies to him I will take your advice into account. And Xylos leaves so Alicia tells her made 3 years passed since what happened. Surely that girl hates me now. But even if so as long as she lives a good life I will be at ease. And on the other side in the academy Sis-10 and Romia are announcing the competition that will be held between the classes. And that will be after a week from now. But clearly the whole class is hopeless and not excited about the matter, and suddenly Glenn enters to them full of enthusiasm, and tells them leave this matter to me, and takes the list of names from Sis-10 and tells the whole class I will use my experience and make you win no matter what, and starts dividing the class in every round, according to which student is good in what. So Sis-10 and Romia feel that he is taking the matter seriously and that he was watching each one of them and knows everything about them, so they all get excited with him and start taking the matter seriously. And we go back to the day before, and we find Glenn begging the principal of the academy to give him any money because he is broke, so the principal apologizes to him that he cannot give him part of the salary before its date, but tells him there is another way. The teacher who wins in this coming competition has a prize, and for that Glenn is taking the matter of the competition seriously. And we go back to the present and Gipple says to Glenn can you repeat the formation again and make the strong people only who participate in the competition so we win. So Glenn is surprised that it is okay to use the same person in 2 or more rounds, and before he decides to repeat the formation Sis-10 replies to Gipple with a question then what will be the benefit when only the best students participate, and tells him the teacher said he will make us win no matter what and the important thing is that we all fight together and enjoy. So Glenn feels embarrassed and cannot go back in the words he said already even though he wishes. And at sunset Glenn is standing alone and frustrated, and sees from the window his class students fighting with class 1 students in the training yard, so he goes down to stop them and suddenly teacher Hari appears so Glenn asks him is your class also entering the competition, so he replies angrily of course and as long as I am their leader surely we will win. So Glenn replies okay good luck I will make my students move away to the tree to give you space for training. So Hari replies arrogantly no impossible I will ask you and your whole class to leave from here. So Glenn is surprised and Hari continues, I heard that you will make your whole class participate in the competition. And the fact that you make your weakest students participate is stupidity and for me an obstacle that you take the training yard for those weak ones. So Glenn gets angry and replies to him these are the best formation we have and we will be the ones who win. And I will bet you also on 3 months salary. And he realizes that he put himself in a new problem, and the harder thing is that Hari accepts the bet. So Glenn talks arrogantly but inside is terrified from what he said, and Sis-10 interferes and threatens Hari that if he does not let them train in the yard she will tell her father and expel him from the academy, so he is forced to listen to her. And the days pass and Glenn trains each student on his skill and on the round he will enter, and Romia and Sis-10 cannot believe that he is taking something this seriously. And in one of the nights Romia is standing alone on the balcony, and Sis-10 enters to her and tells her dinner is ready, so Romia tells her because of tomorrow. I do not want you to worry about me my real family are your family who raised me and allowed me to live among them, and then they enter together to have dinner. And on the next day the royal carriages move with the queen towards the academy, and the maid tells the queen you look very happy today. So she replies yes because I will see my daughter after all this time even if from far away, and she is holding a pendant with her picture with Arminana. So the maid gives her another pendant and tells her wear this one better. And when they arrive at the competition arena the queen announces the start of the rounds, and Romeo looks at her from the arena below, and notices that her mother is not wearing the pendant like the one she has, so she is very upset and thinks that her mother forgot her completely, and the first round starts and Glenn's class 2 takes 3rd place in the flying race. So Romeo and Sis-10 are very happy and Glenn cannot believe that this is real. But of course he does not show it so he tells them my plan is going well, so they all feel confidence in Glenn and Silica laughs very much at the situation he is in, and she is sitting directly beside the queen in the seats of the nobles, and the maid comes close to her and tells her do not behave like this while you are sitting beside the queen. So the queen replies to the maid do not worry no matter what Silica is an old friend, and one of the guards comes close to Commander Xylos and informs him with something that bothers him, and on the other side class 2 achieves success in every round, so Glenn is very happy with them and is proud. And it comes Romia's turn in the mind endurance contest. So Gipple comes close to Glenn and tells him, I see that your choice in this round was wrong. Romia is good in healing magic but not skilled enough in any other magic, so sacrificing her was not a good idea. So Glenn replies with surprise, sacrifice what? You just do not know that Romia has nerves of steel. And the round starts, and it is about a person casting on them spells that affect the mind, and the one who endures till the end will win, and the competitors fall one after another until it remains Romia and a huge person from class 5 named Gale. So the teacher casts on them a very strong spell, and Romia refuses to give up because of Glenn's trust in her and the rest of her classmates who worked hard, and the teacher increases the power of the next hit, so Romia falls on her knees and suffers, and yet tries to stand again, so Glenn goes down and tells the referee stop the match and tells her you did what you had to already and gave very well, but you just faced the wrong opponent. And suddenly the announcer finds Gale standing but already unconscious before Glenn interfered, and that means Romia is still conscious until now and she is the one who won, and the queen is happy that her daughter won and she is pleased and smiles despite what she did to her. And teacher Hari is very upset because Glenn's class 2 rose to first place, and Glenn is very hungry and has no money to buy food at all. And we find two people watching Glenn from afar, a man named Albert and a girl named Riel, and Albert holds Riel before she moves and asks her where are you going, so she tells him going to punish Glenn because he left us without saying anything. So Albert pulls her by her hair and tells her I have a lot of words to say to Glenn but our mission is first now. We came to watch the Imperial Guards who protect the Queen. So she asks him why. Are they not supposed to be our allies? So he replies to her we received a report about suspicious activities happening, and there is a possibility that they do something to the Queen. And lunch break starts and all the students sit to eat, and Glenn has no food nor money, and he tries to endure until the competition ends and he gets the reward, and Lynn stops him and they go to a quiet place, and she asks him can you replace me with someone else, so he remembers that she is in the transformation contest and she tells him I trained a lot on illusion but still not mastered it well, so he replies to her but you love transformation magic, and indeed her eyes shine and she tells him yes I love it very much, so he tells her then train more. But she is nervous from the idea that she causes her classmates to lose, so he tells her this is not the real competition, it is just a normal festival and we came to enjoy, and he reviews with her transformation magic again so she takes some confidence. So he transforms to Romia's form and tells her the most important thing in this magic is imagination, so you must have a complete picture in your head of what you want to transform to. So Lynn gets very excited and Glenn encourages her to go study the character she wants to transform to in the competition, so she goes to see a book with the character. And suddenly Sis 10 enters to Glenn while he is in Romia's form, and gives him her lunch, so Glenn hesitates to take it because in that case Romia will not find something to eat, and he decides to take some from it only and leave the rest, and suddenly real Romia enters to them, so Sis 10 gets angry and cancels Glenn's transformation magic, and before he escapes from her she launches wind magic that blows him to the forest. And after a while Romia goes to him with her food because she noticed he is hungry, so he thanks her from all his heart and eats very fast, and unexpectedly Queen Alicia enters to them, so Glenn is shocked that he sees the Queen in front of his eyes, and kneels to her, so she tells him raise your head, it is me who wants to apologize to you because after all you did for the kingdom in the end you were expelled. So he replies tells her no there is no need to apologize, I left because I hated that job only, and he asks her what brought you here without your servants. So she looks to Romia and tells her a long time past Armanana. You grew and became very tall, and she is very happy that she sees her daughter in front of her after all that time. So Romia looks to her pendant and replies to her I am sorry but you surely meant someone else. My name is Romia and with all respect to you it seems you confused me with the princess who died. So the queen replies you are right indeed. Armanana died 3 years ago because of illness, and excuses Romia and leaves quickly. So the queen tells Glenn she did not meet me as I expected, and I can no longer act as if I am her mother, and before she leaves she advises him to take care of her. And on the other side Xylos is angry because the queen disappeared from them suddenly, and Silica laughs with malice because she is the one who helped her go behind them. And when she returns again Xylos and the guards meet her, and suddenly they raise their swords on her, and Xylos tells her excuse my actions but I must guard you for a while. And at the same time Albert is watching them with his magic eye, and cannot believe that the guards are doing that with the queen. So Riel moves and he holds her by her hair, and asks her where are you going, so she tells him going to kill all our enemies, so he replies to her no it will not work because those guards are soldiers with great loyalty to the queen and no one will believe that they are harming her at all. They are surely planning something else. And we go back again to the competition and still Glenn's class 2 is achieving consecutive victories, and yet Glenn is standing alone and not focused on the competition, and remembers when he was standing in front of the queen and she told him we exiled Armanana because of her special ability, and Sis 10 enters to him and tells him that Romia has not returned until now, so he tells her about what happened with the queen. and goes to see Romeo, and he finds her sitting in the garden alone and holding an empty pendant, so he asks her about it and she tells him I thought it had inside it the picture of someone dear to me but I think I was wrong, and she asks him did you know that the queen is my mother, so he tells her yes and she replies to him then in your opinion what should I have done? I know that she abandoned me because I am cursed and born with a special ability and someone could use me as a bomb that destroys the whole royal family, and I understand that she had to get rid of me for the future of the country, but still there is a part of me that cannot forgive her for what she did, even though I want to hug her and call her mother, but I feel that this will be betrayal to Sissen's family who took me and raised me as if I was one of them. So Glenn replies to her for me humans are creatures who always get hurt and feel regret about any decision they make. It is easy to say choose what will not make you regret but that is impossible, because no matter how much you suffer in your path you will always regret something. And for that I think real feelings are important. If you choose your path based on them the amount of pain you will feel when you regret will be less. And he asks her what will you do now, so she replies to him I still do not understand my feelings well. So he tells her a long time ago I was a magician serving in the imperial army, and when I was there I saw the queen standing and wearing the same pendant you have, and that means she could not throw it, and for that my advice to you is to tell her your feelings instead of running from her. So she is happy with the idea that her mother did not throw the pendant but is afraid of her cold look that she gives her, and she asks Glenn can you come with me? So Glenn agrees and suddenly the imperial guards enter to them and want to execute Romeo on the charge of betraying the queen and trying to assassinate her. So they are both shocked and Glenn stands in front of them. So one of the guards tells him these are orders from the queen herself, and Glenn refuses to believe that and argues with them, so Romeo kneels so that they do not harm Glenn, and tells them I will do what you want. So Glenn is very upset and as soon as one of the guards looks at her he makes him lose consciousness and they take Romeo and leave. And they take her to tie her to a tree to execute her, and Romeo thinks about her mother and that surely she came to see her last time before killing her, and suddenly she hears Glenn's voice telling her keep your eyes closed. And he launches light magic that blinds all the knights and defeats them, and tells her surely the queen would not get rid of you without trial. Surely there is something else behind this execution matter, and suddenly other guards come so Glenn takes her and jumps above the wall with magic and they escape. And they stand in one of the corridors and Glenn talks to Silica, so she tells him I cannot do anything or say anything, so he asks her you are not joking right, so she tells him no. You are the only one now who can get us out of this situation. Think well and search for a way that makes you stand in front of the queen, and cuts the call and Glenn starts to think what she meant. And suddenly he feels someone behind him and looks to find Riel and Albert, and Riel runs to him fast and goes down on him with her huge sword destroying the ground. And on the other side the queen's head maid comes close to Silica, and tells her I put a cursed pendant around the queen's neck, and we will use her life for our mission we the researchers. So Silica is shocked that the researchers are the ones who did all this, and Xylos hears the maid while she says the only way to break the curse is to kill the princess. And at the same time Riel's weapon breaks, so she makes summoning magic and brings out another huge sword, so Glenn launches his ice magic at her, so she jumps quickly and Glenn is surprised by Albert aiming at him, and here he knows that there is no chance to escape, but unexpectedly Albert shoots Riel, and comes close to Glenn and tells him a long time has passed. So Glenn is shocked that this is Albert because he did not see him clearly, and he holds Riel and squeezes her head and tells her you were going to kill me you stupid, so Romeo does not understand what is happening exactly, so Glenn tells her those were my comrades in the Imperial Army, the executioner number 17 in the Special Forces Albert, and number 7 the carriage Riel. And I can tell you be assured since I trust them. So Albert tells them there is no time. The Imperial guards are watching the queen and I think they are acting on their own to get rid of the princess. So Glenn asks him about Silica, and he replies to him she is sitting in the noble's platform beside the queen but looks like she is not intending to do anything. So Glenn is surprised because she can deal with those guards and defeat them alone. And he asks help from Riel and Albert, and tells them that Silica said search for a way to stand in front of the queen and surely she has a reason to say that. So Albert asks him why do you trust her, so he replies she is the former executioner number 21 in the Special Forces and she is the greatest magician on the continent. She is stupid and always angry but she never says anything without reason, so Albert decides to trust him and help him. And Albert and Riel go to the competition arena, and stand in front of class 2 and Albert introduces himself and tells them I have a message from Glenn. Albert will lead the class until I return. Win please. And on the other side Glenn is escaping with Romeo from the guards in the city, so the class students are nervous and do not believe Albert's words, so Riel comes close to Sis 10 and holds her hand and tells her trust us, so Sis 10 feels something strange and tells the rest of the class we will trust them. And teacher Hari is happy because Glenn is no longer there and nothing will stop his class from winning. But the opposite happens completely in the transformation contest, and after class 1 student transforms to a dragon, Lynn gets very nervous and Albert enters to her and tells her the same words Glenn said before exactly, so she gets encouraged and enters to transform to a great historical character and does it perfectly so she gets the full marks and wins. And finally it comes the turn of the individual matches in the arena, and at the same time Xylos asks his guards about Glenn and Romeo, so they tell him they are still chasing them in the city. So he yells at them because they cannot catch just 2 magicians, and orders them to kill them quickly to free the queen. And the last round starts and Gippel wins against his opponent, and after him it is Sissen's turn, So Albert, to encourage them, tells them Glenn said, "If you win I will feed you all at my expense." So they get very excited and Sis 10 starts her match, but she takes a fire shot that blows her away, and her opponent comes close to her slowly and with confidence. So Sis 10 gathers her courage and uses the wind technique she learned from Glenn before, and then hits a decisive blow that wins her the match, and Class 2 wins against Class 1 and Glenn wins his bet against Teacher Hari. And on the other side Glenn and Romeo go down in a corridor and the guards surround them from every direction, and at the same time Albert and Riel come close to receive the prize from the Queen personally, so Silica laughs slyly and tells him you succeeded, and Albert returns to his original form which is Glenn, and Riel is Romeo. And on the other side the ones who were surrounded are the real Albert and Riel. So Xylos is shocked because supposedly his guards are chasing Glenn and Romeo now. So Glenn laughs and tells him we just switched roles. So Sis 10 says to herself my feeling was right when Riel held my hand and I felt she was Romeo, and Xylos orders his guards to catch Glenn and Romeo so Silica makes a barrier around them. And Glenn tells the Queen be careful because those guards are using your name to kill an innocent girl. And I was able to protect her but I will ask you to order them to stop what they are doing. And suddenly Xylos replies to her saying unfortunately we cannot. And when this matter ends I will take responsibility and kill myself. The important thing is that the Queen lives to rule the country at any cost. And there is no time now, and Xylos asks the Queen to give the orders. So the Queen says point your swords at Romeo and kill her. I cannot allow a girl like this to live. And I wish I had never given birth to her and never loved her. And Glenn notices that her hand is trembling. So Romeo is shocked and Glenn asks her with surprise why are you lying, and Romeo asks her is this really what you feel? So the Queen replies sadly yes and Romeo is more shocked and kneels and Xylos pulls his sword, and Glenn does not understand what is happening and calls Silica but she is standing in her place not moving. And Glenn remembers when the Queen came to them in the forest and said I knew she would not accept me and I cannot act as her mother again, and remembers 3 years ago when the Queen was broken and crying about Romeo when she was kidnapped from the palace, so he says to himself why would she lie, and if she really wanted to kill Romeo she would have said kill her and that is all, and he looks in her eyes and finds her very sad, so he stands and tells the Queen nice pendant, so she tells him yes this is my favorite, so he replies but is it not heavy on your neck, should you not remove it, so she tells him never I do not want to remove it. So Glenn understands that she is forced to flatter the pendant and hate Romeo because of the curse, because if she does not do that she will die and if she speaks about the curse she will die, and this is very old magic, and he tells Romeo your mother loves you very much, and he runs quickly in the direction of the Queen. So Xylos attacks him with the sword and pierces his hand, and Glenn falls on the ground and before Xylos kills him the Queen removes the pendant and throws it, and Glenn stands and kicks Xylos and blows him away, and looks at the pendant on the ground and finds it broken and the curse gone. So Xylos asks him why did the curse not activate, so Glenn takes out his card that cancels any magic. So Xylos is shocked that Glenn was one of the Imperial Army in the first place. And Glenn looks at the Queen and tells her I think you should stop lying now. So Romeo is surprised and he tells her if she had told you I love you the curse would have activated, so the Queen runs to Romeo and hugs her and apologizes to her, and they both cry. And on the other side Albert surrounds the head maid and tells her we had 2 missions. The first was to watch the Imperial Guards and the second to investigate the identity of the people close to the Queen. And we knew that you are a criminal magician from the researchers and your name is Elena Chalet, and you will tell us why you were trying to kill the princess. So she activates a teleportation circle and Riel attacks her but does not catch her, and afterwards they go to Glenn and tell him about her. So he replies to them as long as they came this close to the Queen then surely there are many others, so Albert replies I must go prepare immediately, and Glenn thanks them for their help and they leave. And Romeo runs to him after she talked with her mother and told her everything and became very happy, and at night they walk together and she asks him how did you know that my mother was lying, so he replies to her because 3 years ago when you were kidnapped she asked my help and I saw her tears with my own eyes. So she tells him and for that I also did not forget your promise that you promised me that you will always be by my side when you saved me from the ones who kidnapped me. And they arrive at the restaurant where all the class students are, and Glenn is shocked that they spent all the reward and his bet money. And on the next night Glenn and Sis 10 are training on close combat, so Sis 10 is surprised and asks him why are we doing this I thought you wanted to teach me new magic spells, so he replies to her if you train on close combat you will develop your senses and you will know when to attack and when to defend, and once you master close combat I will teach you military magic. So she is surprised and he continues if you want to protect Romeo you will need power much greater than what you learn in the academy, and do not worry I will not let you be affected by the dark side of military magic, so she gets excited and tells him please teach me. And at noon Glenn is sitting at the fountain in the middle of the city, and Romeo and Sis 10 come to him, and they notice that he did not sleep from yesterday and his state is very bad, and suddenly Riel appears and jumps on Glenn with her sword and he holds it with difficulty before it cuts him in half. So he asks her are you trying to kill me, so she replies to him no I am greeting you. Albert told me to do this once I meet you, and then he notices that she is wearing student clothes, so he tells them the imperial government wants to assign an official guard for Romeo so they sent Riel disguised as a student, but I did not expect they choose her among all of them, so Romeo thanks Riel that she came to the academy to check on her and protect her, and strangely she replies to her I came to protect Glenn. so he presses her head and tells her you came to protect Romeo, not me. And the important thing is you must not tell anyone your identity or the mission you came for. And afterwards they go to class and Glenn introduces her to her classmates, and asks her to greet them, and suddenly she tells them I am Riel and a soldier in the Imperial Army. So Glenn covers her mouth quickly and whispers to her what to say exactly so she does not reveal herself. So one of the students asks her, did you come to this city without your family? So Riel is upset and Glenn replies, do not ask questions like that because Riel's family is dead. So the girl apologizes to her. And after a while they go train on lightning magic, and Sis 10 starts first with all skill destroying all the puppets' parts, and then it is Riel's turn but she cannot hit the target, and that is because she does not use this magic at all in battle. So Glenn comes close to her and tells her you have one last chance. So she asks him, must I use this spell to hit the target? So he replies to her, not because you must. Because this is the only spell the students here know how to do from this distance. So she uses her alchemy magic and creates a sword and throws it at the target, destroying it. So all the students are afraid of her power. And at lunchtime Sis 10 and Romeo take her to eat with them even though everyone is afraid of her after what she did, and Riel likes very much a certain type of cake so they bring her a lot of it, and when the class students see her eating they find that she is very cute unlike the idea they had about her, and Glenn is watching her from afar and happy that she started to get along with them. And afterwards he goes to meet Silica in the library and tells her I am not convinced with the idea that they send Riel to protect Romeo, and she replies to him I heard that this girl is very strange, so he tells her yes indeed and I hope this is a chance for her to deal with people better. And on the next day Glenn and his class go on a trip, and when they reach the city the students find a strange merchant trying to sell them, so Glenn tells him stop what you are doing, and his students walk away so the merchant removes his cloak and we find it is Albert, so he tells Glenn that Riel is just a decoy and that he is the real one responsible for protecting Romeo. But strangely he tells him be careful of Riel because she is dangerous, so Glenn replies to him angrily, what are you saying? This matter ended already, so he tells him I warned you and leaves. And at night Glenn is enjoying with the rest of the boys in the class, and Riel is standing with Romeo and Sis 10 on the balcony and sees him, so she tells them it is the first time I see Glenn this happy, so they are surprised by what she says, and she continues he was always very sad and for that I felt I want to protect him and be close to him, and afterwards they enter to play with the rest of the girls. And after a while Glenn is sitting at the sea, and Romeo and Sis 10 come with Riel and they look at the beautiful sky view, and they ask Riel what do you think, so she tells them I do not know but I feel I can never get bored of this view, and they tell her we are very happy that we met you so Riel is happy, and Glenn is happy that their relation is getting better. And after a while all the girls are asleep, so Riel goes out to Glenn who is just about to enter the house to sleep, so he asks her where are you going now, so she tells him I wanted to see you. So he tells her then let's enter, but she stops him and asks him why did you leave the army, so he replies to her I feel regret that I withdrew suddenly at all. So she tells him without you I felt I did not find a reason to live for. So he tells her no you are wrong. You were enjoying today's sea and you can withdraw also from the army and continue in the academy among your friends. So she tells him no I actually live for you. So he replies to her and I told you this is wrong. Seek your life and enjoy. This is what your brother wanted. So she gets angry and tells him I do not understand anything from your words. And I do not understand what is wrong in my words. Why do you not want to be beside me? I hate you and I hate them all because they took you from me, and she leaves him and runs. And on the next day the students are on their way to the research laboratory, and Sis 10 and Romeo notice that Riel is walking alone and very depressed, so Sis 10 tells her we were surprised yesterday when you disappeared suddenly. You should not go out alone at night, and suddenly Riel stumbles on a tree trunk so they run to catch her. So she hits Romeo's hand and tells them leave me alone I hate you, and runs leaving them both not understanding why she is doing this. So Glenn tells them do not worry she is a bit disturbed just because of words I said yesterday. I am sorry, and they arrive at the laboratory and Director Barks welcomes them, and Sis 10 looks at Riel while she is standing alone and is worried about her. So Romeo tells her let's leave her alone for a while. And they enter the laboratory and Director Barks explains to them that white alchemy is a field that combines alchemy which is the science of transforming matter into another matter, and magic white magic like healing, and he tells them and in this field specifically we deal with life itself so for that we chose the place we are in now because it is always filled with pure mana. And he takes them to a room with models of animals merged with plants to create a creature called Chimera, so the students are amazed by their strange shape except Romeo, who tells Sis 10 this place makes me wonder is it normal for people to tamper with life as they want, so Sis 10 replies you are right indeed if someone delves into these things they may lose their way and become an evil magician. And she notices that Romeo is sad so she consoles her and tells her but they are not doing that. Evil magic here. And biology researches were in the past after they discovered it is impossible to happen. And at sunset they leave the laboratory, and Romeo is standing looking at Riel sadly while she is sitting alone. So Sis 10 sees her and is upset and decides to do something, so she goes to Riel and tells her we are all going to lunch come so you come with us, so she tells her no and leaves her and walks away. So Glenn stops her and tells her stop these actions, so she pushes his hand away and runs, and says to herself I hate them because they took Glenn from me, and she reaches the sea and cries. And on the other side Glenn is sitting with Romeo and Sis 10, and tells them Riel has the mind of a child even if she appears in your eyes the same age as you, and I hope you do not get bored of her, So Romeo replies with all enthusiasm, do not worry ever, we will never hate Riel, and Sis-10 gets up and tells him I will go search for her. So he tells them no, wait for her to come back. I will go to her because I am her teacher. And at the same time we find Riel still crying and a person enters to her. So she looks behind her and is shocked to see her brother standing in front of her. So she asks him how you are supposed to be dead. And on the other side Albert is seeing what is happening with his magic eye from very far away, and suddenly finds himself trapped in a magic barrier, and Charlotte comes out from behind a tree laughing with mockery. So he launches flame magic at her and she dodges, so he tells her I am sure you are still planning to do something to the princess, but I will end this matter now, and he launches lightning magic at her again, and this time she also launches magic, so a huge explosion happens, and he finds Charlotte coming out from the fire and making a spell bringing corpses from under the ground and making them attack him. So he uses very strong lightning magic and explodes them corpse after corpse. And Albert notices that her wounds heal at an exaggerated speed, so he tells her, surely this is not healing magic nor pills that increase healing speed. I think it is something evil, and he says to himself the woman is more dangerous than the evil magicians I defeated in all my path, and decides to defeat her and take her to the Empire to benefit from her. And on the other side Romeo and Sis-10 are in their room and very upset from Riel's actions, but they remember when she told them I am happy that you are my friends and do not believe she was lying at that time. So Sis-10 decides to go buy food and things until Glenn brings Riel and comes. And at the same time Riel's brother tells her it is true that the organization killed me that day, but surely you were very upset at that time and did not notice that I was breathing. And I came to ask you to free me from slavery. So she asks him what should I do to save you from them, so he tells her the organization wants Romeo to execute their plan and Glenn is standing against them. And the organization told me that if I help them get rid of him I will be free. So Riel is nervous and remembers her memories with them and the good time she spent. So he asks her, do you not want to protect your brother or are you intending to abandon me again? So Riel is shocked from the sentence and suddenly Glenn appears and pushes him away from her, and tells him I should have expected this from the researchers. And I do not know what lies you told Riel, but you failed already. But suddenly the enemy laughs and Riel's sword pierces Glenn's back, and she tells him thank you for everything, and bids him farewell. And at the same time Albert sees what happened to Glenn with his eye while in the middle of the battle. So he gets angry and tells him pathetic, and Charlotte laughs and uses teleportation and leaves. And after a while Sis-10 returns home and enters the room and is shocked to find Romeo on the ground and Riel in front of her. So Riel tells her do not worry, she is unconscious only, but I did not kill her. So Sis-10 asks her about Glenn and she replies tells her I killed him. So Sis-10 is shocked and aims at her with her hand and tells her if you move I will launch at you. But Riel is not afraid of her because she is already afraid, and tells her launch at me if you can and I will not do anything, and as Riel expected Sis-10 cannot launch at her, and she takes Romeo and leaves. So Sis-10 blames herself for her weakness and fear, and Albert enters carrying Glenn on his shoulder, and when she sees him she is shocked and afraid, so he tells her there is no time, he is still breathing. So Sis-10 decides to use healing magic, so he tells her no, it will not work because he is already on the verge of death, and asks her to give him her power so he can perform the white magic ritual. This is magic that needs a huge amount of mana and they must do it both. And suddenly Glenn stops breathing, so Albert holds his hand and finds his heart still beating, so he quickly draws on the ground with blood so they can catch up to perform the white magic. And at the same time Romeo is chained in a strange place, and Riel and her brother enter to her. So Romeo asks her why did you do this and where is teacher, so her brother replies he will not come this time because Riel killed him. So Romeo is shocked and asks her is this true, and she replies tells her sorry. But even if I do not want this, if I did not do it I would not understand what the purpose of my life is. And on the other side Glenn wakes up and finds Albert, so he apologizes to him for the trouble he caused him. So he replies to him if you want to thank someone thank Sis-10. Without her I could not have done the white magic. So he looks at Sis-10 and finds her sleeping from mana exhaustion. And then Albert tells him this girl has a big mana capacity and can benefit us in battle to protect the princess. So Glenn asks him to explain the current situation so they know how to plan what to do. So Albert tells him I warned you about Riel, and Glenn asks him were you suspicious from the start that the researchers are planning something. So Albert replies yes, we received a report of suspicious money entering the White Alchemy Laboratory, and after we investigated we found there is a connection between the researchers and Director Barks. So Glenn asks him angrily then why did you not tell me when I met you the first time? You were planning to use Romeo as bait from the start, and he holds Albert angrily and tells him if this was the army's plan why did you not stop them? So he replies you are supposed to know why. So Glenn realizes that Riel's identity will be exposed, and tells him even so I will not forgive you for exploiting Romeo like this. Do not involve her in problems for your benefit. So Albert replies my superiors are scum because they ordered something like this, but I am also scum because I followed these orders and I will not deny. But at this stage I will not be merciful, and if Riel thinks to stand in our way I will finish her. So Glenn objects and tells him no, we must correct her misunderstanding first and then return her to our side. And this is my responsibility because I failed her 2 years ago. So Albert replies with surprise, and you think she will leave her brother and listen to you? So Glenn tells him angrily I will make her listen even if by force. So Albert replies, I am surprised you are able to say this while you ran away and abandoned your friends without even saying one word. And this is the reason for Riel's betrayal. Do you even think you are qualified to save her? So Glenn replies angrily, everything you said is logical. Even so, I am her teacher and my responsibility is to save my student. So Albert punches him with all his power, and tells him this is so I can forgive you for disappearing without any word then, and gives him a gun and tells him I will give priority to saving the princess. But if I get the chance to get rid of Riel, I will shoot her without hesitation and I will not accept from you any objection on that. And they run to save Romia, and Sis 10 wakes up not finding Glenn and cries strongly because she is weak. And on the other side, Barks and Charlotte activate their device and Romia screams from pain. And at the same time Albert tells Glenn I had put on the princess a magic mark from the last time I saw her in the magic competition. And this mark makes me know her place anytime. And they walk in their way and Glenn asks him, and for that you are confident in the path we are walking now? So he replies, no, the spell on the princess already disappeared. And for that I put another one in on Charlotte. And suddenly Charlotte feels something on her neck and finds the magic mark. So they watch Glenn and Albert with magic while they are walking in the corridor. And suddenly the wall beside Glenn breaks and a huge monster half lion and half spider comes out. So Albert uses fire magic on it and turns it to ashes. So Charlotte laughs and asks Barks, did you think you would really defeat him with this weak monster? So he sends another bigger monster this time, and with one strike on the ground it breaks it. So Albert makes a barrier until Glenn finishes his spell and cancels it. So he launches the magic shot and defeats the monster. So Barks is shocked again and Charlotte laughs at him mockingly. And she tells Riel's brother, we will depend on your sister for the rest now. I cannot die here in the end. And on the other side Barks comes out to meet Glenn and Albert himself, and turns to a huge scary monster. So Albert tells Glenn, I will deal with him, you continue. So Glenn runs fast and Albert shoots Barks distracting him, and Glenn passes him and continues his way. And at the same time Riel's brother tells her our project is about to finish, but the two people who are coming will be an obstacle in our way. Will you get rid of them for me? So Riel replies, surely, because I live for this. And suddenly Glenn breaks the door and enters to them, and tells Riel, do you not have something to say to Romia after you involved her in all these problems? And he looks at her brother and tells him, you involved my cute student in your disgusting project, and comes close to him. So Riel stops him and pulls her huge sword. So Glenn tells her, they are fooling you, you stupid. Your brother died 2 years ago. So she refuses to listen and yells at him, he is alive in front of you, and runs at him fast. So he dodges her strikes, and says to himself, this is my fault from the start that I did not tell her the reason for my escape. Romia calls her and tells her, stop what you are doing. You are hurting our teacher whom we love, and you also our dear friend, and we do not want to lose you. So Riel remembers when they were at the beach and they told her, we are happy that we met you, and she stops in her place. And Glenn takes the chance and asks Riel, since you love your brother, tell me what is his name. So she asks him with surprise, why do you ask a strange question like this? And her brother tries to distract and tells her, finish the matter quickly. But Glenn presses her and tells her, try to tell me his name, and if you knew I will retreat. So her brother tries to make her not hear him. But Riel hesitates and finds herself really not knowing what his name is. And then she feels pain in her head and falls on her knees. And Glenn throws his gun at her head, and jumps on her fast, hits her head with his head, and holds his gun again and shoots at their device, destroying it, and runs to her brother and punches him with all his power. And at the same time Riel remembers that her brother's name is Shaun, and that she is originally a copy of Shaun's sister who was named Washia. And we go back to the past and Shaun tells his friend Rainer, we must stop what we are doing. We sacrificed many people to create Riel. Let us leave this organization better. And suddenly he stabs him, so Washia, Shaun's sister, is shocked and tries to run, but he catches her and kills her also. And we return to the present and we find that the fake brother is Rainer, and he tells Glenn, 2 years ago Shaun betrayed us and informed the Empire about us, and they stormed our laboratory and took our research. So Glenn replies, yes, I know, because I was in contact with Shaun at that time, and remembers when Shaun was sitting with him and told him, the project we are working on will not be done except with my spell, so they cannot continue if I leave the organization, and I came here to ask you a request. Please save Washia and Rainer. So he tells Rainer, and afterwards I lost contact with Shaun, so I took the soldiers and stormed the laboratory, and at that time we found Shaun's body in Washia, so I decided to take Riel and protect her because she is a copy of Washia. So Riel cries when she knows her real identity, and Rainer replies, I thought I modified her memories to suit my need later. But junk will remain junk. So Glenn gets angry and launches lightning magic at him, but suddenly finds in front of him 3 other copies of Riel. And Rainer stands and tells him, now I have these copies and they are much better because they have no feelings. And he orders them to attack, but they bypass Glenn and run to Riel. So Glenn runs fast and saves Riel from them. So she asks him, why are you saving me? I have nothing now. So he replies to her, and why do I trouble myself to protect someone who has nothing? And he continues fighting the other copies. So she tells him, but I am just a doll originally. So he replies, impossible for a doll to look the look you looked at Romia and Sis 10 when they told you you are our friend. So she tells him, but I did many bad things. And he replies, then go apologize to them for what you did. And suddenly he gets injured in his leg and still continues the battle. and tells her live for something you cherish and do not use your mind much thinking in stupid things. So Riel stands and holds her sword and destroys all the copies fast. And Glenn goes to defeat Rainer. So Rainer defends himself with lightning magic, but Glenn cancels it with his card, and puts his gun on Rainer's head and shoots, but the gun is empty, so Glenn throws it and punches him with a very strong punch, and on the other side Albert burned Barks completely with flame magic. And afterwards they return to the academy and Riel apologizes to Sis-10, so Sis-10 hugs her and cries. And on the next day they play and enjoy again, and Albert tells him, I know you did all this to protect this scene. And on the other side Charlotte is holding a cube in her hand and tells herself, finally I got the complete biology project. And at the same time Glenn is sitting watching the students while they are playing, and suddenly Albert tells him Sis-10 looks like Sarah Silvers, so Glenn is upset when he hears that name. And on the other side Charlotte is with her leader, and he asks her, can we say that Princess Armiana's power is close to completion, so she replies to him yes, and asks him what should we do after that, so he tells her we will just observe for a while. And at night Sis-10 and Romeo are in their house with Riel, and Sissen's family treat her with all kindness and tenderness, but she is embarrassed from them, and suddenly Sissen's father tells Sis-10, I feel there is something important I should tell you but I forgot, and the girls go out to the balcony afterwards. And Riel is still feeling guilty, so she apologizes to Sis-10 again for what she did. So Sis-10 hugs her and tells her there is no need anymore. And on the next day Sis-10 goes to the library, and accidentally drops a book, so Celica comes down to give it to her, and reads on it finding, Castle Mulgarius. So she tells her your grandfather also was researching this a lot, right? So she replies to her yes, and I want to fulfill his wish, although I am worried if I can or not. So Celica replies to her do what you must and put effort, and leaves her and walks. And Celica goes down to a strange place in the library and opens the door with her magic, and enters standing in front of a drawing of a maze and tells herself I wish I could return again. And on the other side Glenn meets Sis-10, and thanks her for saving him from death. So Sis-10 is embarrassed and her face turns red, and Romeo and Riel enter on them, and Riel teases him, so she pulls her sword and blows him out of the library, and suddenly Glenn finds a carriage approaching him and almost runs over him. So the person inside the carriage uses wind magic and lifts Glenn from the road. And a man gets out and tells Sis-10, I did not expect you to be the first person I see when I come here. And Sis-10 is surprised that she is seeing in front of her her childhood friend whose name is Leos, so he tells her I received an invitation to be a teacher here in the academy, and suddenly he greets the others and tells them she is my fiancée Sis-10. So she is shocked from what he said. And at the same time Sissen's father tells his wife, I remembered what I wanted to tell Sis-10 yesterday. It is that Leos is coming. And we return to Sis-10, who asks Leos with surprise, what are you saying? So he tells her, did not you and I promise each other that we will live together? So she replies to him, but that was when we were children. So Glenn intervenes and tells him, you doomed yourself. The one who marries her will be digging his grave himself. So Leos replies angrily and tells him, stop insulting my fiancé. So Sis-10 replies to him, calm down teacher, Glenn is just joking. So he is surprised when he hears the name Glenn, and tells him, you are the teacher who made a big fuss and teaches magic basics instead of the academy's curriculum. I hope to attend one of your lectures someday. So Glenn replies, but I am not as great as you are talking. And at the same time Director Rick is talking with Celica and Harry about Leos, and he says this young man is nominated to be a count. So Harry is very excited, but the director is worried about the idea of appointing a teacher of such a high level instead of the other teacher who is on sick leave. So Celica asks him, then why did we appoint a person with such talent? So Harry asks her with malice, are you worried he will replace your student? So she replies to him, the matter will be much better if it is as you say. And at the same time he continues his talk to Sis-10 and tells her, I am serious and I still love you. So Glenn comes close to her and tells her, I am very happy for you. It was impossible that anyone would like a rude girl like you anyway. Truly they are right when they said some people have strange taste. So Sis-10 is very angry and blows him away with wind magic. And after a while they enter the academy and Glenn attends a lecture of Leo's to evaluate him, and finds that he is indeed very good and his explanation is of a high level, but he thinks this itself is a good and bad thing at the same time because it is still early for them to understand that level, because the skilled magician must first realize how to use magic and know what great power means. And these children all just know that it exists. And Romeo tells him, I see that you are better than him because every day you make us understand the meaning of power and then show us how to use it and not let it control us. So he replies, but I feel jealous too because he is handsome and more skilled than I expected. And after the explanation Leos asks Sis-10, what do you think of me? So she replies to him nervously, you were great. So he replies to her, then I passed the first obstacle in the path of being a suitable husband for you. So she tells him nervously, I told you not to talk about this matter in public like that. So he asks her to walk with him outside a little because he has something important to tell her. And they go out together to the garden and remember some memories from the past, and Romeo took Glenn and Riel to watch them from afar, and suddenly Leos asks Sis-10, will you marry me? So Glenn is very excited, and on the contrary Romeo feels something is wrong. And at the same time Sis-10 replies to Leo's, tells him I am sorry I cannot accept because I promised my grandfather that I will discover Castle Melgarius. And to achieve that I must learn a lot about magic. So he laughs and tells her you did not change at all. You are still talking about this fantasy. So she is surprised at his reply, and Leo's continues in magical archaeology. The goal is to uncover the secrets of the ancient civilization and revive ancient magic. But no one was able to do that, so surely it is impossible and meaningless. And you are wasting your life on something like that. And if your grandfather did not focus too much on these things he would have made other better achievements. And he asks her to help him in his research about military magic instead of what she is doing. So she replies to him sadly, I am sorry, but just as you have dreams I cannot give up mine. And Sis-10 cries, so Glenn intervenes and tells him stop saying these lies, you idiot. A person walks in the path he chooses. So Leo's replies, you have no right to interfere in my talk with my fiancé. So Sis-10 embarrasses him and tells him no, he can interfere as he wants because we will get engaged. So they are all shocked and Glenn takes the chance and laughs mockingly. So Leo's tells him someone must show Sis-10 the truth and you are not the right person to do that. So Glenn provokes him and tells him but she chose me. So Leo's replies, then prepare yourself because you will regret that you made me your enemy. So Glenn takes off his glove and throws it at him and tells him I challenge you in a duel. So Leo's agrees and tells him we will set a time and nature of the duel another time. And leaves them and walks. So Glenn looks at Sis-10 and tells her happily, if you were my wife I would not need to work because you are rich. So she blows him away with wind magic. And afterwards they go to the class and Glenn tells the other students that he will marry Sis-10 because she is rich and he will not need to work again. And at that time he will give them special training in magic and asks them for help in the challenge. So they ask him, why should we interfere? You are the one who challenged him. So he tells them because he chose that the duel be a competition of skills as magic teachers. So Jibble replies with surprise, does this not mean we have no chance? So Glenn tells him, and for that we will train. So they are all annoyed and he tells them, do not worry, I will not forget you when I become rich. And at night Glenn sits with Albert in a cafe, and Albert tells him you are competing over a girl you do not even love. You do not feel guilty at all. So Glenn replies, and who cares? If I win I will not need to work again. And asks him, why did you talk to me anyway? So Albert replies, I heard that the great dust was smuggled to this city. So Glenn is surprised and tells him, was not its making method destroyed in the incident that happened in the past? So he replies, yes it was supposed. So Glenn tells him angrily, the one who is injected with this thing turns into a doll so they control him. And before Glenn continues Albert tells him, no. I know what you will say, you want to join the investigation. And I came actually to tell you do not interfere. After I heard that this dust came back again I started to ask what is the motive that Sarah died for. So Glenn replies, I do not want this to happen again. So Albert tells him, I know you see Sarah in Sis-10 because she has the same personality. So Glenn tells him shut up. And on his way home he remembers when he was sitting with Sarah. And she tells him your dream to be a magician of justice is very great. I sometimes wish there was a person like that. And on the other side Leo's is in a carriage with a strange person and asks him what is the news. So Leo's replies, just as you said exactly. He came and challenged me in a duel. So he replies to him, I want you to defeat him for me. And on the next day the competition begins between the students of class 2 of Glenn and the students of class 4 of Leo's, and the competition will be magic battle, and the students will be like pawns and the teachers move them, and the conditions for victory are either controlling the enemy's base, or defeating the enemy's leader, and Sis-10 feels that she is disturbed from what is happening, and from the decisions they take without asking her opinion. And the battle begins and the students of class 4 defeat 2 people from class 2, and Glenn notices that Leo's uses a military plan and divided the students into teams of 3 members, and Leo's is surprised that Glenn spread more forces and randomly to defeat each enemy unit. So the other teachers expect that surely Leo's will win because he made a much better and more organized plan than Glenn, and also because the abilities of class 4 are greater than class 2. And a clash happens between the 2 classes with magic shots, and the surprise is that class 2 is the one that imposes its control on the situation. And we go back in time a few days. And Jibble asks Glenn, are we going to divide into teams of 3 members like class 4 too? So Glenn replies, it is very clear that it is impossible for you to use this plan because it is hard and needs years of training, and tells them that the better and best solution is that they divide into teams of 2 people. And we return to the present and the other teachers feel shame from Glenn's fighting style. So Teacher Harry tells them Glenn has no problem using any means to win. And at the same time Leo's understands Glenn's plan, so he talks to the students and tells them use long-distance fighting, but he is surprised that the students are very scared of Riel because she dodges their attacks very easily and alone defeats them. So Leo's tells them move all the forces to the forest, and he is surprised again that Teacher Glenn went down himself into the forest, and Glenn provokes them so they defeat him. So they chase him and he traps them in very silly traps. So they are scared of him and run quickly but fall in a hole, and Glenn stands laughing at them and his students feel shame from what he is doing, and on the other side Leo's talks to his forces in the magic bracelet. So Glenn replies to him and asks him, Leo's, did you prepare these traps in the battlefield before? So Glenn replies, no, I think no one ever made them and I used them. And Sis-10 feels she is very stupid because she is fighting with him, and in the end the battle ends in a draw. So Glenn tells his students, well done. You did a great performance, unlike Leo's who tells his students what a pathetic performance you did. If you followed my orders you would have won. So Glenn replies to him the leader is responsible for the failure of his forces, so Leo's replies angrily keep your opinion to yourself, and throws his glove at Glenn and tells him I challenge you in another duel tomorrow, and it will be man-to-man fight. So Glenn agrees and tells him anyway I have not given up my desire to be rich. So Sis-ten intervenes and tells them enough now. Do not treat me like a commodity, and tells Glenn what is this cowardly way you used in battle? Do you think I will accept to marry someone who fights like this? So he silences her and continues his talk with Leo's, and sets the place and time in which they will fight. And suddenly Sis-ten slaps him on his face and tells him I hate you, and leaves him and runs, and Glenn ignores what happened and tells the other students our training is over today, you can go. And at sunset while they are returning in the carriage, Sis-ten is very upset from Glenn's words that he will be rich if he marries her. So Romeo tells her you are the one who knows the most that Glenn does not think like this. So Sis-ten remembers everything he did with her, and asks her then why did he challenge him in another duel. So Romeo replies surely there is a reason that makes a lazy teacher like him trouble himself for you. Try to ask him. And on the other side Albert and his team are standing in front of the body of a person who was injected with the great dust. So they realize that this thing is spreading faster than they expected, and at the same time Leos tells his leader very soon I will marry Sis-ten and then I will be able to take over her family and my chance to raise my rank will increase. And at night Glenn is standing alone and tells himself the matter will end tomorrow. And sorry Leos, I am not interested in your magic talent and I am not intending to lose to someone who just does research. And honestly I feel that I wronged Sis-ten with the words I said, but that was the most suitable solution. Right Sarah? And suddenly Sis-ten enters on him and tells him the matter is not like that, and asks him who is Sarah, and why did you challenge him in another duel? So he replies I told you I want to be rich and not work again. But he notices that his lie is no longer working. So he tells her you are very similar to Sarah. A long time ago there was a stupid person who admired magicians of justice and studied well, and was able to be a soldier in the imperial army in the end. But one day that person was terrified from magic and from the blood he saw, and since then he started to hate the magic he once loved. And yet that stupid person did not give up his dream because he had a friend supporting him, and in one mission that stupid person allowed his friend to die in his arms. So that person had enough of everything and gave up being a magician and became jobless and isolated in his house. So Sis-ten understands that the story he is telling is his story. And Glenn continues honestly I do not know what I am doing. And maybe I put hope in you because you are trying to achieve your dream. And maybe I am trying to atone for my sin to Sarah by protecting your dream. But what I am sure of is that I got angry when I heard Leo's belittling your dreams. So she replies to him so in the end you did all this because of your emotions. So he tells her yes and she replies to him these are childish behaviors. But I am happy because what Leo said was true. I am not talented like my grandfather and the more I study the more I get lost. But I discovered now that there is someone supporting me even if it is because of his emotions. So I must continue trying. So Glenn laughs and tells her it is the teacher's duty to support his students. And suddenly Leos enters on them and tells Glenn you are very cowardly and speak about your past as if it is a touching story to get Sis-ten's sympathy, and since my work is research in military magic, I found secret information about the Imperial Army, and I knew everything about your past Glenn the trickster. So Glenn is shocked and tells him I warn you, shut your mouth and leave now. So Leos continues you have no right to live in the light with your blood-stained hands. So Glenn warns him again that if he speaks he will not wait until tomorrow and will finish him now. So Leos replies there is a more suitable place and position for you. Go back to your place as a member of the Special Forces in the Imperial Magicians Organization number 0. Glenn the trickster. So Glenn gets angry and takes out his card, and attacks him with fists. But he is shocked that Leos is skilled in close combat in the Imperial Army style, and Leos throws him to the ground, and uses Talba creatures, and this is a technique that shows imaginary creatures in this world with the same power as demons, and these creatures attack Glenn, and he cannot cancel them with his card because they are illusion not magic, and Glenn falls on the ground and bleeds. And Leos comes close to him and tells him I know that you are supposed to be better than this, and I hope you fight better tomorrow in the duel, and Glenn stands and walks away without saying anything, and before Sis-ten runs after him Leos holds her and tells her leave him. I must talk with you now. So Sis-ten tries to escape from him and suddenly he tells her shut up or I will make everyone hate to look at your face. So Sis-ten is shocked because this is not the Leos she knows. And Leos continues marry me. You have no right to refuse because of your friend Romeo. I can expose her identity and her power to everyone. And also Riel I am sure all the secret organizations want to take her and make experiments on her. And on the next day Glenn does not come to the duel nor to the academy. And at night Sis-ten returns to Romeo, and all she said is I will marry Leos, and she leaves her and walks away. So Romeo goes to Glenn in his house, and tells him what she said and asks him to act. So he tells her do not worry leave the matter to me. Stay with Riel all the time so she protects you, and since then he disappeared. And on the next day at night Sis-ten is in Leos's mansion, and asks him are you from the researchers? So he replies angrily of course not. Do not put me in the same basket with that trash. And on the next day in the school news spreads among the students, that Sis-ten accepted marriage with Leos, and Jibble tells them what really disappointed me is that teacher Glenn did not attend their duel. And Sis-ten enters the class so they run to her, and ask her are you sure of this decision you took? So she tells them yes and they ask her then what about your dream to be an archaeologist? So she replies sadly that was just a dream with no importance. So they ask Romeo, are you going to accept what is happening to your friend? So Romeo cannot answer them, and Leos enters and takes Sis-10 and leaves. So Riel tells Romeo, I cannot comprehend what is happening, but I am sure he is an enemy, and before she attacks him Romeo stops her quickly, and the rest of the students are very upset from what is happening. And Romeo and Riel go out to the garden, and Romeo tells her, I am sure Teacher Glenn will act. So she replies to her, but Teacher Glenn did not come until now. So Romeo tries to comfort her and tells her we must trust him. And after a week Romeo and Riel are sitting and Sis-10 enters on them in the wedding dress. So they are amazed by her beauty, and before they ask her anything she wanders and tells them go to your seats because the wedding will begin. And when she is alone she cries but is forced to go along with the events and goes to the wedding. But suddenly Glenn enters and screams, wait, I object to this marriage, and throws a smoke bomb in the place, and tells Riel take care of Romeo, and takes Sis-10 and runs away. And on their way Sis-10 screams at him, leave me, I must marry Leos. So he tells her, I expected that he would threaten you with Romeo. So she asks him, where were you all this time? So he replies, sorry, I was busy after I heard what happened, and I sat thinking how to get you back. And the only thing I was sure of is that I would lose if I did not take the matter seriously. And after that I prepared the plan and the weapons, and I found that I must lure him to a place where I have the advantage. And then he asks her, in your opinion, what is the real goal of Leos? I thought of many possibilities but did not reach anything. And suddenly corpses appear behind them moving because of the great dust, so Glenn gets very angry and asks what brought them here. And on the other side corpses also appear in front of Riel and Romeo in the hall, and before Riel attacks them Albert and his team appear, and orders Riel protect the students and take them out of the place, and at the same time Glenn pulls his gun and tells Sis-10 run quickly. So she asks him, what are these corpses? And he replies, these are dead dolls executing the orders of the one who injected them with the dust. So Sis-10 refuses to run and tells him, I will fight with you. But suddenly the corpses jump on the walls quickly and Sis-10 freezes in her place from fear. So Glenn attacks them and tries to protect her, and takes her and runs away, but the corpses chase them quickly, so Glenn is forced to stand and fight, and when he finds a chance to escape he takes Sis-10 and runs. And he thinks this is the same thing that happened with Sarah the day she died at the hands of the corpses. So he pulls his dagger and starts killing the corpses one after another, and Sis-10 is terrified and does not know what to do, and suddenly a corpse jumps on her from behind, so Glenn shoots it, and comes near Sis-10 to comfort her, so she screams at him, get away from me. So he asks her, are you afraid of me? I am sorry. And suddenly Glenn hears clapping, and looks above him and finds Leos, so he tells him, stop pretending that you are Lewis. So he is impressed that he discovered his true identity, and cancels his transformation magic and appears the person who was transmitting news to Leos. So Glenn tells Sis-10 this is the former executioner number 11 in the Imperial Magicians organization and his name is Gaddis Loven. So Sis-10 asks him, where is Leos? And he replies, I injected him with the great dust to execute my instructions. But he could not resist it and died immediately, and tells Glenn, a long time has passed. You do not know how much I waited to see your face again. So Glenn stands up and tells Sis-10, go from here quickly. This is not a world you can be in. So Sis-10 runs away crying. So Gaddis tells him, but truly she is like Sarah. So Glenn gets angry and asks him, what exactly is your goal? So he replies, executing justice. So Glenn tells him, so you come with the excuse of justice and want to kill all the army magicians and the important figures of the empire. So he replies, correct, and you stood in my way. But this time everything will go according to my plan once I find the Akashic records that contain the past, present and future. And then I will be able to rule the world. But I cannot get them unless I defeat you to deserve them, because you defeated me before. And this is not revenge, this is a challenge. And I will be the magician of justice. And suddenly he summons Talba creatures. So Glenn replies angrily, all your words are wrong, and shoots the Talba creatures and blows them up, and tells him, I should have known that you are Gaddis when you used these things that day. And on the other side Sis-10 is on the ground and feels great pain, and realizes that Glenn all this past time was trying to protect her and her classmates and exposing himself to danger for them, and blames herself for what they reached and is afraid that Glenn will die. And at the same time Gaddis summons more Talba creatures, and Glenn attacks him and tries to hit him with bullets and fails, so he uses ice magic and Gaddis responds with flames, and suddenly Glenn throws 2 needles but Gaddis catches them before they penetrate his head, and makes the Talba creatures attack him and wound him. So Glenn falls on the ground and Gaddis is about to finish him, and suddenly Sis-10 shoots wind magic on him. So Glenn asks her angrily, why did you come again? You are not from this world. So she tells him, correct. But you also are not from this world, and I came to bring you back with me because you are irreplaceable for me, and for that I want you to stay by our side. So Glenn is surprised and calms down, and takes off the Imperial Army clothes, and tells her, I will rely on you, and they both run towards Gaddis, so he summons Talba creatures. So Sis-10 uses wind magic and breaks them, and Gaddis shoots flame magic on them and Sis-10 extinguishes it with wind magic also, and gives Glenn a push and he comes down on Gaddis with his fist and slams him in the wall. But Gaddis rises again and this time summons a giant Talba creature, so Glenn runs towards him, and before the summoning is complete Sis-10 shoots wind on him and stops him, and Glenn reaches with his fist and with all his strength punches him again. And Glenn notices that Sis-10 is very tired because of mana depletion, so he runs to check on her, and Gaddis summons another Talba creature and stands on it and tells Glenn we will meet again, and leaves. And Romeo and Riel arrive with the rest of the class, and they are very happy that Glenn and Sis-10 are fine, So Glenn asks them, are you really satisfied that I be your teacher? So Sis 10 replies, that is stupid. Of course we are satisfied. And at night Glenn sits with Albert and apologizes to him that he let Gaddis escape. So Albert tells him, no need, we did not even ask you for help in this battle. So Glenn tells him, but there is something that bothered me, and tells him about Gaddis's words about the Akashic records. And at the same time Charlotte is in front of a very strange door and laughs an evil laugh. And on the next day in the school Glenn meets Silica, and she tells him, you look more like a teacher than before. So he tells her, I can do anything if I want. So she tells him, fine, I am no longer worried about you. And I came to tell you that I will go explore an underground labyrinth because I feel there is something I must do there. So he tells her fine, and the students call him, so she pushes him to go to them.